Listen, you gotta get out of there.
What are you talking about?
I don't have time to explain. You gotta get out of there right now.
All right, let me grab my...
I think it's finally time. Dun dun dun! I cannot stress this enough. I severely dislike remakes. I've said this time and time again. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're masterpieces even, and relatively faithful adaptations to things we all love and enjoy. I don't know why I keep playing these things, to be brutally honest with you. But most of the time, no. Just no, most of the time they just suck. No, they suck and they're just quick cash grabs at nostalgia so people can relive the exact same experience effectively that they've already done before. Made by people with less creativity and understanding than me trying to understand how Chipotle is able to fit all that into a single burrito. Resident Evil 3, the remake, somehow manages to be both at the exact same time. It's kind of impressive when you come to think about it. Like, how the hell do you nail so many things, phrasing, and miss the mark on so many things so hard at the exact same time, also phrasing. Like, the Resident Evil 3 remake is the equivalent of going to a restaurant, a nice place, a nice establishment where you order some spectacular appetizers, only to realize as soon as you order the appetizers, you see the full price of your main course meal, and you're broke, and you decide to get the cheapest thing on the menu, which is the cheapest thing on the menu for a reason.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
And then going to buy Oreos for dessert, a 6.5 out of 10. Like, what the hell, Capcom? You could have had 3 straight bangers, but y'all dropped the ball so hard, you made people question you over and over and over again, including myself. As an adaptation of many people's favorite Resident Evil game in Resident Evil 3, also the only mainline Resident Evil game that actually has the majority of the game in Raccoon City itself, where you play as everyone's favorite heroine, Jim Valentine, updated for modern audiences as she wants to talk to the manager and escapes the hellscape that is this zombie-infested Raccoon City. The story follows a very similar plotline. Raccoon City is infested, and you must escape before it's too late, except, and this is me grossly oversimplifying, the city portion of the game condensing half the game into something that can now be done in 40 minutes, cut out the clock tower sequence entirely, and change the ending by going from the death plant to a second hive underneath the hospital for some reason. Fuck! But it's pretty much the same story. I joke about Jill, but honestly, she's not terrible in her characterization. It's a zombie apocalypse, and she is a little distrustful of people, and they clearly just hammed up her characterization just to be a little spicy, create some drama.
Come on, you creepy-ass stalker! You want stars? I'll give you stars!
The game, to its credit, plays very well. Smooth gunplay, the dodge mechanic is a little bit broken, but can function, and getting to play as Jill for the first time in over a decade, honestly, it's really fun, but zombie animations are worse and they just turn to goop after you kill them. My favorite parts of the game aren't even playing as Jill, they're quite literally playing as Carlos, who's 100 times better in this game than in the original. This game, because of the gameplay alone, makes me want to play as a side character in Daddy Carlos more than the main character, and that's a fundamental problem.
I'm not gonna die on you, leave you in a cold, cruel, Carlosless world.
Still, this game does look great. I can't harp on that. Runs exceptionally well, and if I did have one extremely positive critique, it is the graphics and how it runs. Julia Voth is a great Jill Valentine, but this new model for Jill Valentine is lovely, aside from somewhat the unnecessary attitude as the city is overrun with the literal Walking Dead. Although I'd have attitude if these zombies in the hospital weren't just melting. I mean, it's literally not the Wizard of Oz, people, come on. Now, my antagonism towards this game, you have to understand, it's coming off of Resident Evil 2. People were hyped for this game. I cannot stress that enough. Only a year after Resident Evil 2, during COVID, and a demo that was just pure peak hype, showcasing everything to us. And then to give us what we were given is beyond a slap to the face. The demo was quite literally the entire city section of the game, where everyone's biggest and most single disappointing gripe being frickin' Nemesis being so completely neutered in the way that he was. Words cannot describe it. Nemesis deserves his own small section here because he was always the poster boy for stalker enemies for decades. The guy that showed you how to do it, even with the hardware limitations back then. Especially considering how well Mr. X was done in the Resident Evil 2 remake, one would think, hey, Nemesis is gonna be fire. Instead, he was barely a spark. Look how they massacred my boy. People don't understand, when you replay the original Resident Evil 3 game, his AI is actually genuinely insane. I'm actually stumbling over my words because of how insane it was. For 1999, by the way, mind you. Like, he was smart. He knew when you were going to attack or when you were going to be ready to shoot him, so he would actually move out of the way or charge you and attack you so you wouldn't be able to shoot or fire your gun, making it impossible just to combat him for the most part. If you were hiding behind something, he would stop shooting, wait till he basically got himself in position, just attack you. It's crazy the amount of things that they were able to do with the AI back then in 1998 and 1999. I'm getting the years mixed up. I'm really flabbergasted and flustered, okay? But in this game, no, he just shows up as a stalker enemy for effectively just the first city section of the game, which, in fairness, is probably the best part of the game, mind you, only to show up later in scripted sections for the rest of the game. I personally, although I will be in the minority for this, love the new designs of Nemesis, but he was completely done a disservice in this title. It's like making a juicy steak, but no, it's not steak actually, it's fake steak and meat, and you just didn't add salt and pepper. Like, no, just no. That's what Nemesis is like to me in this game. It sucks, it really does, because there are quite a few things to like about this game. I love the expanded stories for everyone. Carlos, Mikhail, Nikolai that jackass, who's also the voice of Heisenberg in Resident Evil 8 by the way. It's all well acted and voiced, and looks fantastic, and plays insanely well. And some might find this controversial, but I would take all of the characterizations within this game and replace the original, because I think they're all incredibly well done. Carlos is 1,000 times better. I think Mikhail's been given much more screen time.
Get off my train, shitbird!
And Nikolai is somehow more malevolent than he was in the previous game, and that is just a joy to see.
Ah, the missile has launched, and that is my cue. Goodbye, Miss Valentine. Shame you didn't listen to me when you had the chance.
But ultimately, this game is just such a frickin' tease of a game, because when the moments hit, they can hit very well. I remember the hunters in the sewers and in the hospital, and being like, holy poop. I think most people's, and I'll be fair, 100% my biggest gripe and problem is that this game was sold along with Resident Evil Resistance, which is its own thing to talk about entirely, for full price when this is just DLC that should have been sold for maybe 30 bucks. People would have a much different tune, including myself, who was hyped to play one of the most beloved Resident Evil games of all time. And if you're gonna sell us this effectively as a full price game, then we deserve a full price game, and not one where it's clearly rushed and a lot of the things you created within the Resident Evil 2 remake that you're gonna take away. Like, that's effectively just a big reason why this game is going to be as rated as low as it should be. I also would like to just point out the resurgence in positive reviews for this game. If you want to review it positively, that's perfectly well within your purview. This game just overall is not good. It's not full of content, it's way too short and not highly replayable, which is the biggest problem. And one thing that I do give Resident Evil 2 Remake a bunch of credit, even though they cut out the B scenarios, this game is just not replayable. I can replay the Resident Evil 2 Remake A and B scenarios because there's a bunch of different ways to go about playing the game. It's not as linear as the Resident Evil 3 Remake is, unfortunately, at least in terms of how to go about doing things. But hey, at least Capcom takes the hint. Enjoy.